We talked about God's big strategy for carrying out his vision, but we also get a picture in scripture of his small strategy for carrying out the vision. Or another way to view that is the vision lived out at grassroots level. Not only do we get to see in detail the way Jesus discipled the 12, but we also get to see the Apostle Paul discipling Timothy up close and personal. Paul came to a town called Lystra where he met a young disciple named Timothy who was well spoken of by the brothers in that town. And he wanted to take Timothy along with him on the journey that he was on. And so he invited Timothy to join him and began to invest personally and spiritually into Timothy's life, discipling him almost as if he was his own son. Paul was like a spiritual father to Timothy, and Timothy became like a son in the Lord to Paul. And we get this picture of what Paul's exhortation was to Timothy. In his last letter, 2 Timothy 2:2, Paul says this, "And the things you have heard me say in the presence of many witnesses, entrust to reliable men who will also be qualified to teach others." And so let's talk about what this looked like for Paul. Paul spoke to Timothy and said, the things that I've entrusted to you, pass those things on to reliable people. The third generation, who will be able to teach others also. 4 generations. What would happen if Timothy did not find reliable people to pour into who could then pour into others? Presumably, this chain would sort of come to an end. Now we know that God's plans can't be stopped and he would find someone else to carry out his purposes to take the gospel to the ends of the earth and to make disciples, but not without consequences. This is what the picture could look like in anyone's life. Taking what God has entrusted to you, praying for God to reveal to you reliable people, faithful people who could then pass things on to others. And why reliable? Why faithful? Well, this was not just any message. This was the most important message. This mattered. This was a big deal. So it needed to be entrusted to somebody. It was precious. And why the word entrust? That sounds so personal and so weighty. Have you ever watched a relay race at a track event or maybe at the Olympic Games? It is important to run fast in those events, but the most important part that runners sort of rehearse and practice over and over again is actually making the handoff. This is kind of like a relay race in some ways. And those who intend to be a part of the small strategy of Jesus and of Paul need to give special attention to how to most effectively make that handoff. This is the part of the race that will most likely influence the outcome of the race. And so those who intend to make disciples must ensure that the ones that they are discipling catch that vision to go and make disciples of others. This is how personal disciple making is a little bit different than other types of one-to-one relationships. Mentoring is sort of passing on life lessons and things that have helped you in your life to another in hopes that they will grow and learn from those things. Disciple making will include lots of mentoring, but it's not the full picture. Counseling is to help someone sort of work through deeper inner life issues, finding healing that will enable them to live a more healthy life. And disciple making will often include counseling to some degree, but it doesn't capture the full picture of what disciple making is. Coaching is basically helping someone follow through on the things that they would like to do but struggle to deliver on. Disciple making will include plenty of coaching, but it doesn't quite capture the full picture of what disciple making really is. The key aspect of disciple making that makes it stand out is this small strategy of not only receiving and becoming a disciple, but helping someone make a disciple who will then go on to make more disciples. That is the picture that we're going for when we talk about disciple making. We're beginning to get a better picture of what disciple making is, and next we will turn our attention to how to do it.